Best tips for healthy disagreements on how to run the family. I'll answer this. Just do whatever your wife says. That's that's not 100% wrong, because I do think I agree with you on a lot of those types of things. But I think you need to get on the same page. And I think what did it really say? We should have that conversation when cognition is where?
When emotions are low and cognition is high. When you're not
Don't
pissed.
have those in the moment. Don't have those disagreements in the moment. You may say, okay, this is something we need to talk about. Let's talk about it tomorrow morning when we can be a little more level-headed.
Friends, if you have kids in your life and you're trying desperately to figure them out, I can't say enough about my friends at the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. Sissy Goff, David Thomas, and Melissa Trevethan. You've actually heard Sissy and David on my podcast a few times as they helped us navigate tween and teen boys and girls. They were so insightful, gave us a lot of practical help and a whole lot of hope. Friends, they are going to help you through the journey. Make sure you check out the Raising Boys and Girls podcast every week. John's always surprised that you guys have legitimate questions for us in these Ask Us Anything episodes, but by far they're some of our more popular episodes, and we are back for part 2. Had so much fun with you guys last week talking about toxic work environments and what we're going to tell our kids when they leave the house. And because we work from home, how we're savoring our summer and dealing with the distractions, like our dog Addie, who literally just decided to barge in the door and walk in as I was recording this. Addie is doing well. Oh, she is loving her mama. But John and I are back with part 2. We're going to talk about how we made the transition from New York City to South Carolina. And if you're watching, she's licking my face right now. If we'd ever moved back to the Midwest. And then a couple serious questions too. You know, we were separated and headed for divorce. How we really worked through those tough times and how we've managed to disagree in a civil way. Yes, we still have a lot of disagreements and we don't see eye to eye on everything. So how we work through that. Make sure you stay tuned to the very, very end, because we're going to tee up what's coming up in July, and also a sneak peek into some of the series that you have asked us to do coming up in the fall. Again, we are only talking about the things that you guys want to talk about. So without further ado, here is part 2 of our Ask Us Anything.
All right, this one is from Tina R. How hard was it to move from New York City to South Carolina, and what ultimately was the driving force?
You want me to take that?
Sure.
Well, it was tough, but it wasn't. It was COVID. And we ended up down here. People ask us all the time, how'd you end up in South Carolina? Because, you know, John and I originally are from Michigan and Indiana, respectively. We worked in Ohio, got married when we were in Ohio, worked in Chicago, worked in New York, and we ended up in South Carolina because my sister moved here like 11 years ago, and we fell in love with the area. We bought some property across the street from her that we could invest in, and we were going to turn it into basically an investment property because John's in real estate. So we built a house. The house was finished the end of 2019, this investment property, the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. And when the pandemic hit, we're like, let's just go down for 2 weeks. And literally, that's all we thought we were going to do. Yeah. We're going to go down to South Carolina for 2 weeks to get out of New York City.
And COVID was passive.
Yes, we never went back. Like a lot of us it was kind of a forced reset. We didn't know. We had no intention of staying down here. Like I literally told the boys, pack a couple pair of underwear. We're fine. We're only going to be gone for 2 weeks. I don't know if they packed any underwear, to be honest. They're boys, whatever. They can wear their shorts inside out. We didn't expect it, but I will say it was unexpected. It was a little bit, I don't want to say forced, because I knew that I was leaving ABC. They didn't re-sign me. So I was trying to figure out what was next. And we knew just financially, we couldn't stay in New York City if I didn't have another job in television. And I wasn't really sure that that's what I wanted to keep doing. And so moving to South Carolina, we could afford to live here without my salary. So again, what are you gaining? What are you giving up? I was going to be leaving TV news, not having that lucrative salary and the lucrative position. So we couldn't really afford to stay in New York anymore. But we love it here. You know, we love the weather. We love the people. We love the quality of life. We love the cost of living is insane. We live on a lake, you guys. I mean, we could have never done this back in New York. So we get to be with our kids. That why is really important, why we're doing what we're doing. But again, there's the things you give up, right?
Yeah, always.
So
I feel like in life, sometimes you go make things happen. You open up a door, you unlock an opportunity, and sometimes doors are just opened up for you. And I felt like this was a door that was just 100% opened up for us. We kind of walked through it. We looked around. We're like, I'm not sure about this, but we ultimately just kept walking, and then we stayed, and it's been the right thing. I do not think if there was not a global pandemic, we would be here right now. Our lives would look completely different. I 100% agree. We would have done something, would have made something happen in New York. But, I'm glad that it did. And I'm glad that we're where we're at, because I firmly believe this is where we're called to be in this community.
Yeah, I agree. And one other thing I will add, John, and you can attest to this. When we decided to stay, we didn't have jobs lined up. Like, you were still in your position at Marcus.
I was traveling back every week. I was flying in Sunday night, staying till Thursday, coming home, press repeat. I did that for over a year.
Like, you can't be remote and be the manager in Manhattan at the office of Marcus and Millichap. No. So when we decided to stay here, you didn't have any assurances that you were going to stay at Marcus and Millichap. I didn't know what I was going to do on the other side, but we just felt so called to stay down here that it was supposed to happen.
Yeah. We were gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we just said, you know what? We feel like we're supposed to be here. We're going to stay.
Yeah.
So sometimes you might have that peace in your spirit that you're supposed to stay, but you don't necessarily have anything lined up. And sometimes you just have to step into that fear, and it's a little scary. But I'm glad that we did.
Yeah.
Glad we did. And you're still at Marcus and Millichap. You're in a different position. It's been a great company to you, and you're kicking butt in your new role.
Yeah, I love it. All right, here's a question from Joel. I can answer this. Would you ever move back to Michigan after your kids graduate? No. That's the answer. No. No, we would not. We love Michigan.
I love it.
I'll visit in July and August, but I don't want to be in Michigan any of the other 10 months of the year.
I think that's one of the reasons we loved South Carolina so much. So when my sister moved down here 11 years ago, she moved from northern Michigan, from Traverse City. It's right near the Upper Peninsula. And one of the reasons we loved this area, we're in the upstate of South Carolina, is because it reminded us of northern Michigan. I always wanted to live on a lake, because we had no money growing up. We were always camping at the state parks, and I saw these beautiful homes with, vacation properties and vacation rentals. And I was like, one day I would love to have a house on Lake Michigan. That was always my goal. But then the older we got, we're like, you and I just decided we don't love the cold weather anymore. So that's why we kind of took Lake Michigan off the map.
Yep.
And when my sister moved down here, we fell in love with this area, and you could buy and build very affordably at the time. And so we love it down here. And I love Michigan. I think I'll always consider myself a Midwest girl and a Michigander. And, but I don't think I could ever, maybe we could reverse snowbird. We could go there, stay there for a couple months in the summertime, but
an option.
No, I'm really affected by the weather. I wouldn't say that I have seasonal affective disorder or anything, but I love the sunshine down here, and I love Q1 being January, February, March, because it's cold, but the sun's still out. Yeah. I need the sun.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Go blue, but go blue.
This is a very appropriate question because we're coming up on our 25th wedding anniversary in a year. So we've got a full 14, 15 months to plan, but Steve wants to know, what is your dream vacation without kids?
I think anything without kids would be our vacation. I loved when we went to Europe right before we had kids. And
that was our 5-year anniversary. That was fun.
We had been together.
We did London. Yep. We did
Paris.
We were in Paris. We were in Nice. We were
Italy. Yeah, that was
Italy
great.
Was great. Yeah.
I love that. And I love a mix. I'm not big on bougie vacations. I like adventurous vacations. If it's just the two of us. If it's kids, I like to relax a little bit more because kids are exhausting. But I'd love some sort of adventurous vacation. I don't have any
You went to New Zealand one time, and that's been on my bucket list. You went there for work. That would be a lot of fun. There's this amazing golf course I've wanted to play. It's called Cape Kidnappers. It's literally right on the ocean. It looks amazing.
Nice. So I'll drive the golf cart for you.
That would be fine. But there's just the topography. They filmed some amazing movies there. That would be an adventure for us as well. maybe skiing in the Alps. We're not big skiers, but I think that would be pretty cool to go into the Swiss Alps and do something like that. So if you guys have options on what you think a dream vacation would be for us and where we should go on our 25-year anniversary, please
do.
Let us know. Reach out to Paula.
Hey, skiing in the Alps, I'm just going to tap out right now on that one.
Out? No.
I'm going to tap out. You can maybe do that with your buddies. I just maybe let's go do something doable first before we try to take on the Alps. I mean, I'm all about
we've
hot toddies and everything.
Vacation too recently, like a Turks
I love Europe,
or something like that.
I just love Europe. Europe's my kind of, because you have the history. The country is so old and established. The continent, I should say. Gosh, my geography is terrible. I just love anything Europe because of the history associated with the individual countries. You can get from one country to the next pretty easily. I would love to take you guys all to Lebanon one day to see my family back there. It's such a beautiful country. It's not the greatest time to go right now, but to go back to the mountain village where my jaddu and situ, my grandmother and grandfather met and married, would be really, really cool. And to see how family does it. It's really cool. Okay. How many more questions do we have?
We've got 3 more. I've got 2 serious and 1 funnish. So
okay, let's do the serious. Can I just be pushy and say, can we do the serious one first? And then we'll end on the fun. Yeah.
Okay. Lydia wants to know, this is serious. How did you get through the tough times in your marriage?
One, I had a partner that wouldn't quit on me, even though I did a lot of unlovable things. I say that we wouldn't be together if it wasn't for John. And also my parents were really instrumental in not telling me what I wanted to hear. They told me what I needed to hear. Yes, they were a safe space for me to go when I had, we've talked about this. We were separated for a while and things did not look good. My parents never badmouthed John, and they said, you know what, you guys need to work this out. Had they enabled me and just told me what I wanted to hear, things would be different. But my parents, and I would say you, John, also having a spouse that fought for me even when I was unlovable, and our faith. I just, at the end of the day, I didn't want to be married to you anymore, but I didn't have a peace in my spirit about splitting up with you. But I'm so glad that we fought for it and that we continue to fight for it. But it was over in my mind. Yeah. So
I think the center of our marriage has always been around our faith. And even if we got away from it or kind of lost our center, we knew we could always come back. And that's what kept us together. And, growing up in sports, being an athlete, coaching sports, I always remember saying that tough times don't last, tough people do. And whatever season you're in, no matter how difficult it is, it's not going to be like that forever. But are you tough enough to find a way to get through it and work? I think that was the thing. I looked at our relationship and I said, okay, this isn't easy. So I can do 2 things. I can take the easy way out and just walk away, or I can roll up my sleeves. We can roll up our sleeves and work at this thing. Every marriage is going to be work. Every relationship is going to have tough times, whether it's early on, like it was in our relationship, in the middle, later in life. But getting back to what I said, tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Yeah. And I think having mentors who have been married longer is really important. Doing life with
from people you trust, people you respect.
Yes. Not people that are going to tell you everything you want to hear, even though in that moment you're like, just tell me what I want to hear. Give me permission to leave. And don't stay in a relationship if it's abusive. Okay. True. We're not saying that at all. We actually did a series on relationships earlier this year, which was really great. We did that with Dr. Henry Cloud, the author of Trust, which is just a fantastic book. Don't stay in a toxic or unhealthy relationship. But if it's worth fighting for and you guys are going through a tough patch, I mean, you can get through just about anything. We did. So, and we're stronger for it. I'm so grateful for you, John. I really am. Woo, that was serious. We need more cowbell. Okay, let's end on on 2 fun questions.
Well, this is actually, we've got one more serious one, and it's a 3-part, but it doesn't.
I thought you said, wait, I thought you said we had one serious.
We had 2 serious, 1 fun left. But actually, this one is kind of a mixture of fun because the first question is favorite date night.
Ever? Oh, favorite date night for us, easy for me, watching sports, having beer and wings.
There you go. Yeah, I like going out to just a nice little restaurant, having some good food where you and I can just
Yep.
connect with one another. That's really one of my favorite date nights. I mean, I do like going to concerts and bigger events and things like that. We don't do that as much now as we used to, but I just think anytime I can look you in the eye and we can just kind of get on the same page, put our phones away. Thank you, Jesus. Put those phones away and just connect with one another in a undistracted way. Here is another part 2 of Leanna's question.
Okay.
Best tips for healthy disagreements on how to run the family. I'll answer this. Just do whatever your wife says. That's I'm not 100%. That's not 100% wrong, because I do think I agree with you on a lot of those types of things, but I think you need to get on the same page. And I think what did it really say? We should have that conversation when cognition is where?
When emotions are low and cognition is high. When you're not pissed.
Don't have those in the moment. Don't have those disagreements in the moment. You may say, okay, this is something we need to talk about. Let's talk about it tomorrow morning when we can be a little more level-headed, because if you run into those disagreements on how to run the family, that should not be discussed in the moment. Be proactive about it.
I tend to want to get things like off my chest right away, which sometimes serves me well and sometimes doesn't, because I'm known to like fire off an email that I instantly regret and I can't undo it. So I think just knowing when to talk about it, just say, hey, I'm really upset right now. I don't want to talk about it right now because I'm going to say something I regret, which is always me, or I'm going to do something I regret, again, me, because I'm a bit of a hothead. That's that Lebanese in me. It's good and it's bad sometimes, but mainly good, because I'm fiery and feisty. So knowing like I've just got to talk about it when emotion is low and cognition is high. And usually it's our kids, like they notice that there's some sort of disagreement and they try to pit us against one another. So even with our kids, making sure that together we're putting on a front. Yeah. I might not have to agree with it. Like this is John's stance, but I'm going to support him, and vice versa. You just be publicly in front of the kids. Okay. Hey, support your mother, support your father. We're going to be together, in agreement. You have to compromise. And sometimes you're not going to see eye to eye. Like John and I don't see eye to eye on everything. There is a point where we're just, okay, we're not going to see eye to eye, but John, if you're really passionate about this is how it's going to be, then I'll support you. And vice versa. Paula, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'll support you. One thing I've appreciated about you is like, we voted differently. We've had our differences. I appreciate that you're still your own individual, even though together we are 1 or 3. Yeah. Wait, I don't even remember.
1 + 1 = 3.
Okay. But you're not my better half. You're my better whole. Remember that whole thing?
I do remember
with
that.
The W. I don't even know where I was going with that because I got so distracted. This is where I was going with that. It's so important to maintain your individuality, right? But also being equally dependent on one another. Knowing who you are and your identity and who you are, you can't give the other person your whole if...
Yeah.
You can't give the other person your whole self. Wow, that was an unfortunate pause there. You can't give the other person your whole self if you're not whole to begin with and working on yourself. I think it's important to be together, but also to maintain your individuality and your independency. And it's okay to have your differences. I think our differences make us unique, and we've villainized differences. Differences are normal, right? Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. That's how opposites make it work.
Yep. Okay. Last part of Liana's 3-part question.
Okay.
What makes each of you feel most supported?
What makes me feel most supported is when you think of me, like the acts of service, when you come home with a fountain drink and I haven't asked you, when you support me in front of the kids and you're not like, just do it because mommy says it. You're like, do it because that's my wife. Yeah. When you defend me, I love that. And when you're on my feet, but that's really getting into like love languages. Yeah. So
I think I feel most supported when you allow me to be who I am and not try to change me or have me be a different version of myself. Now, if I'm completely out of sorts, that's fine. But I think when you just say, hey, John, I know who you are. I know what you like to do. I know what you don't like to do. And I want you to be who you are. That's how I feel supported, that you're not trying to change me.
But I am pushing you, as you said earlier.
But in a good way. Okay.
I want to push you
Last
around.
question. And it's from Isa B. where did you meet? And I think we've referenced it before, but we met in college. And I think Paula could tell the story even better because she was the one who really went after me.
I did. I pursued you. I was the cougar. I was 2 grades ahead of you. We met in college. We first met when you were a freshman and I was a junior because you were on the basketball team and I was in the broadcasting program, and we had to produce all of the home games, and I was the hero cam. So I was not on camera. Yeah. We just recorded the games, produced them, and then we put them on Continental Cablevision. And I noticed you when I worked all of the home games, and I was like, he's got a great attitude. I really liked your arms. I don't know what it is about your arms were really sexy. There you go, baby. I liked your disposition on the court, how you were a leader, and I just thought you were a cool guy. It wasn't really until my senior year and your sophomore year, that's when I had a friend of ours, a mutual friend, put in a good word for me.
Yeah.
Basically saying, hey, you should, if you asked Paula out, she would say yes. So yes, I did pursue you.
Me for a year, and then you got a friend to reach out to me to connect us. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did.
And when I heard that you were interested in me, I was like, wait, what? Who? Paula? Like the girl? Like that? Like she is the homecoming queen. This is the most sought after woman at
I was not the queen. I was third runner up.
All righty. Well, you're my queen, not the third runner up to me. So. Yeah, and we went on a couple dates and kept it going, and I tried my best to screw it up, but here we are.
You did a good job for a while.
I did.
You did a good job for a while.
Young and dumb.
And that's all right, because we know that the frontal lobe didn't close until after we got married.
Yes, we did learn that. I was 24 when we got married, and I had not completely closed my frontal lobe yet, so it took me a little while to grow into it.
Anything else that we missed? We got every question. Seriously, hold the envelopes.
Right here. All the questions.
That's amazing. Yeah. I thought you would like that little touch if I actually gave you envelopes. It felt very 1990-ish.
Yeah,
if we were going to reach into the mailbag.
My office and said, don't open this until we start recording. I was like, uh-oh, what is this? Because last time you did something like this, you made me eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I did only take one bite of that.
I still can't believe, and this kind of supports the theory, you are a bit of a freak and unicorn. You didn't have your first peanut butter and jelly sandwich until we did an Ask Us Anything couple of episodes, the end of 2023. Mm-hmm. And I actually made you a PB&J. I put it outside of your office because we're actually recording like 20 feet from one another. Yeah. I put it outside of your office and I said, try the PB&J. I surprised you with it. You took one bite and you didn't really love it. Like who doesn't try a peanut butter and jelly until they're 47 years old? Yeah. And B, who doesn't like a peanut butter and jelly? Should I be worried about you?
It's not my thing, but I appreciate you supporting me and not forcing me to eat it.
Okay. Well, I love you and I'm grateful for you. And everybody, thank you for those great questions.
Yeah, they were great. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation and we helped some way.
Yeah. And we didn't have to make up one single question, John.
No.
Not one. So July, we have our hot takes on our hot summer. Did I tell you we're going to be doing this, John, or no? Are you finding out for the first time?
I always find out day of, day or two before. Yeah, I just roll with it.
That's right. You really do. I appreciate that about you because I can be a little much sometimes. But July, we are going to be bringing you some of our favorite moments from the last 2 seasons. John and I are going to weigh in on our favorite episodes, our favorite moments. Make sure you tune in for the month of July. And then when we come back in August, September, October, November, because we are talking about the things you are talking about, that's the show. You DM'd me or reached out and said, I want you to talk about this. We have some incredible series. We have a series about college. Like, do you even need to send your kids to college? Is it worth it? And then how do you find the right college for your kid? And then we have, it's a 4-part series. I cannot wait. And also like how we can raise good humans, right? We have a series on menopause, which I know you can't wait, John, as I wear my estrogen patch.
But maybe I'll be able to learn more about, who I'm living with right now.
It'll help you understand why I want to punch everybody in the face at times, because I just have this uncontrollable rage sometimes. But like the hot flashes, the insomnia, the weight gain, everything. We're doing a whole series on menopause and talking to the menopause doctor, Dr. Mary Claire Haver, who You guys reached out to me and said, hey, would you reach out to her? And I did. And then we're doing a series on whether or not America is family friendly and the policies. We're doing a series on the sex talk and why you shouldn't have the sex talk with your kids.
Shouldn't?
Teaser.
Whoa.
Because it should be a series of talks. Oh, I just gave it away. I gave away too much, okay? But all of these series are conversations you are asking us to have, and we're putting a lot of thought and energy into them. And I cannot wait to bring these to you beginning in August when we come back from our hot summer.
Hot summer.
And you can stay up to date. Make sure you're getting my newsletter at paulafarisofficial.com. You can keep up to date with what's happening with John and I. You can always send us a message about some things that you want to talk about, or you can reach out on my Instagram too. But my personal newsletter goes out every couple weeks, and encouraging and authentic content to help you live your best life. We do favorites and giveaways and all kinds of fun stuff. It's content that definitely encourage you. So anything else we should add, or should we just go? Are we rambling now?
I think we've covered a lot.
We have. Okay. Well, cheers, John. And I'm going to leave everyone on one last note. Can I get a little more cowbell?
More cowbell.
All right. I'll see you in a couple minutes, John.
See ya.
And for everybody listening or watching, we'll keep talking about it. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
I know you guys thought you were done with me, but not quite yet. I have one more thing to tell you about. If you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to subscribe to the show. I don't want you to miss a single beat or a single conversation. And remember, my DMs are always open. Tell me what you want to talk about.